Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andy, I'm the painting fireman, and today we're going to try something a little bit different. We're not doing a landscape today, we're doing a seascape. I live in Alberta and have been to the ocean a few times, but I don't really have anything to go by to regularly see the sea or the ocean. So I just kind of reference some pictures, I watched some YouTube videos on painting seascapes, and I'm not super good at seascapes, but I hope you stick around and we'll try and make a really neat one today. Let's go up on the canvas, I'll show you what we've done. I have a 16 by 20 canvas, and in the middle I have put some put some hockey tape. I live in Canada, so that's what I had. I put some hockey tape right across the middle, and the reason why I put hockey tape across the middle is to give myself a completely straight horizon. When you look at the sea or the ocean, you have a completely flat horizon. On top of this, I have some liquid clear and some brown that I've made from sap green and alizarin crimson. It makes a really neat brown color. I want this picture to be in a tone kind of like the old-timey pictures, you know, that copper color. I think they call it sepia. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm going for right now. We're going to start with the sky and put a nice little ocean. There's a sky and ocean down here, maybe a crashing wave or something. Not a big crashing wave, but just a nice kind of splash. We'll see what happens when we go up here. So here we go. To start, we're just going to take out some of our titanium white, just on both sides, and we're going to grab a little bit of yellow ochre. Just a little bit of yellow ochre. Now on the canvas, like I said, we have our kind of brown mixture. You can see it on the palette here that I've made all over the canvas. The whole works is covered, and we're gonna start with our titanium white and yellow ochre, and we're gonna determine where our light source is. So I want the light source to be right in the middle, and today our sky is kind of going to be interestingly cloudy-ish, I guess is a good way to think about it. And as you go outwards, it'll mix and it'll go darker, 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 darker. I want the lightest part in the middle here. So we can go back and lighten it up. Almost every time we go, we just dip our brush into our white and our yellow ochre, and in the middle again, and just go outwards with it. And I think we're going to put a big old cloudy sky there, just nicely kind of like these kind of strokes here, like a happy face kind of stroke. And you really want it dark on either side. That's kind of where I'm interested in having the darkness, and I want the light right in the middle. I think we'll make that light even brighter in the middle. So you can go back and take some more paint, and right over top of it, you can make it even brighter. Maybe like a sun rays almost, or a sunset, whichever way you want to look at. Whichever way you want to look at it. And I'm going to leave some of these completely black almost. We're going to go over with our brown mixture and make some big old clouds. So all we're doing is just rocking back and forth. I want the whole sky to be covered, and we're going to blend it out, of course, like we usually do. But even up here, it's going to make it look like there's interesting clouds and kind of wispy looking clouds, ocean, you know, you're on the ocean and those clouds kind of make really neat forms. But definitely make sure that you're in the middle. It's your brightest part. And like I said, you can go back several times, brighten it up just a bit, and darker, darker, darker towards the end. Kind of like a sunset or a sunrise that we're going for here. And just back and forth. Back and forth. And we'll blend this out. We're going to take our big 2-inch brush, blend it out nicely. Kind of wanted a little more white than yellow there. So we just take our white, go over top. And we're still mixing with the yellow. We're mixing with what we have on our canvas, which is that neat mixture with the red and green. Like I said, we're going to leave some spaces in here, and we're going to blend that out. Okay, we're going to start with our 2-inch brush for the blending process. Just take your 2-inch brush, and we're going to use the same strokes back and forth as we did with our 1-inch brush, but we're just trying to soften this sky a little bit. Leave some spots dark, leave some spots full of that bright color. Try not to go over your white or your brightest color, because you'll drag that paint over there. That's not exactly what you want. So you got to be really careful going over that part with your brush. But all I'm trying to do is soften that sky. Just soften it just enough. You can see how it's really turning a bit stormy, and it's got that copper kind of brown tone that I'm looking for as well. And then you can gently go over, get rid of your brush strokes. Got a pretty neat looking sky with some wispy clouds in there. We're going to take our dark color that we made before. That's that really neat brown color. And just our fan brush, not a ton of paint. We're going to go into these dark spots and just make that indication of these really wispy looking clouds. A little more definition to those spots we left. Now you can make clouds any way you want. Maybe these ones are kind of, you see at the Seascape that they're just almost straight lines coming across. They're not as puffy as those ones, and they're in the background there. This one here comes up nice and dark in the middle. And I'm going for that old, 1800s kind of look when they used copper plates to make pictures. That's kind of where I'm going with this. And all I'm using is the corner of my brush. Not, like I said, not a ton of paint. I don't have a lot of paint on here because I still have that dark in there that's really helping me out. And you want to leave that darkness in your paintings and in your skies. So wherever there's light, there needs to be dark, and it really brings it out. Maybe on this side here, there's just some little floaters, nothing. Maybe some kind of come into the sun area, and all I'm doing is kind of wiggling my brush. I'm not really pressing very hard at any places. Just nice and wispy looking. Just around. And you could stop at any time. You can put as many clouds as you want in there. Really doesn't matter. We can take our 1-inch brush, nice and clean and dry. Nice and clean and dry. And we go up here and we'll just soften the bottom of these clouds here. And gently, very gently, barely any pressure, to make those little wispy parts in the top of the sky there. And we're just blending out the bottom nicely, and we can go soften them. These ones here we can just soften right in. I'm barely touching the canvas, just moving that paint around, and that's the beauty of our wet on wet technique. You can move colors around, and color just kind of moves for you. Also, when you use that liquid clear, it helps move your paint around quite nicely. That's looking pretty neat. I think maybe it's almost nighttime. It almost looks like the sun is setting almost. I think maybe I'll put a little more there. So you can go back and forth as much as you want. Put as many clouds in as you want. There's no on the end of a paint tube, there's no instructions. There's nothing that says you need 5 clouds in every painting. You put as many as you feel like. You put as many as you feel you need, and the shapes of them, it's all up to you. There's no instructions. As soon as you picked up this brush here, that you got your license. Got your license to paint. So we're just gonna soften these out a little bit. And it's purely at random. There's no, not really following any kind of sketch or anything like that. We'll go in here again, just wind it up a little bit, fluff those up. And then you can go across, get rid of those brush strokes. And you go in, you can fool around with this all day long if you want. Really, it doesn't, it's all up to you. But just make sure that that light spot stays light. That's most important. And you can touch up places as you go. You can see I move from one end to the other. It's just if I see something, I just want to kind of make sure that it gets my attention as soon as I see it. Alright, I think we got a pretty interesting looking sky. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take off our tape. Now, the reason we had that tape on there, you can use masking tape. My kid just has a bucket full of hockey tape, so I went and took some of this hockey tape. And you want a completely flat horizon. That's the whole reason why we have that tape on our canvas. So you can go ahead and pull that tape off. You can see that I got a perfectly flat horizon. Now the issue is you need to put that tape on before you put any of your liquid white or your base color, which was this color, on before. Your tape won't stick to that oily stuff. So you can take some of your dark color, the same color that's on there already, and you can just go and fill it in right to the top here. You can even dip your brush into some liquid clear if you want. But I'm just going to go down here and bring some up. And you're just barely touching that line. You want to keep that line as crisp as possible. So I'm just going to fill that in, just with my little dark color that we made. And we'll keep filling it in. Alright, we just finished filling in where our tape was. All I did was take a little bit of our color, mixed it in right to the horizon line. That tape made that horizon line nice and straight, but we needed to fill in the spot where the canvas was still dry underneath. So now we've got a nice straight horizon line. I'm just going to take a small little filbert brush. I'm just going to use our yellow mixture, maybe a little darker. I don't want this to be too bright. And we're going to put a little sketch in where we think our waves are and land. So I think I want a little piece of, maybe a little piece of land here. Now this is a rough sketch. Maybe something comes down here and he comes back here this way somewheres. We'll have a nice wave coming here, one here. Maybe one behind. Maybe, yeah, we're gonna have. I think we'll have them crashing here. So there's gonna be like a crashing spot here. Maybe this wave is responsible for that crash. And it's just a completely rough sketch, because you can always blend this out if you want. We got to think about our angles here. Maybe another wave comes here, and I'm not sure whether maybe we'll have, maybe it'll stop. You know, you'll have that little crashing onto the beach, and maybe this will be beach of some sort. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We're always going to come back and highlight these guys at the end anyways. I know it kind of looks silly, but this really gives you a great way to kind of map out your seascape. Alright, let's take our fan brush and we're going to go into our yellow ochre and white mixture. We're going to start in the back of the painting. You really want to bring your paintings forward, so you start in the very back and then bring everything forward. Alright, we're going to start in our lightest part, and all we're doing is little rocking motions, and it's going to pick up the paint that we have underneath. Remember, we put that nice brown color underneath, and just rocking motions. motions here. You want to leave it, you want to leave some space. Start in the middle, we can move forward a little bit, and it's just literally rocking motions back and forth, and darker, 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 almost into nothing on this side here. And you just kind of want it random. And the biggest part of this is making sure that we start in the middle again, where a light source is. And just those rocking motions up and down. And if you happen to be a little bit too bright on that side, just go in to your color, a dark color, and we can darken it up. And hopefully it will look like a stormy sea. Try and get as close to your horizon line as you can. Be very careful with that. We're kind of looking for angles. That's really what we're looking for. Making sure that our angles are close. Remember, start in the middle, and we're just doing those rocking motions. And into nothing. Same with this side. So we need to go up here a little bit. And you can flip your brush over, use the other side. And we're going to put that big rock here. And we're not using a big ton of paint at all. Maybe there's a crasher. It's going to be maybe a crasher here. But we have to leave dark. We have to leave dark to show us the light. Almost in life, you have to see the darkness. There's a song, you have to kick at the darkness till it bleeds daylight. That's kind of like this picture. There's some really neat crashers here. We're going to pull some of these back just to make it look like the water's flowing, and you can see these ones are crashing over. But before we, maybe right here, we'll put some more before we put our, just a little bit here. And we can go back and highlight some of the ridges. I think we'll do that. It'll help our painting out. We're going to put that big crasher there, so I want a little more white and that yellow ochre, but more white. And I think one of these waves kind of crashes up against that rock there. And all I'm doing is taking my fan brush and just pushing that corner in there. You know, that wave kind of crashes there. And we can take some of these waves and we can just pull backwards. We want to leave this top ridge of this next wave fairly clear. So we're just going to go back. It is picking up that paint and follow the contour of that wave. I think that wave's kind of curling up there. So I want to pull some of my paint in that direction. So just rock it up and down. I think we went a little bit too bright on the corner. And as you go through your painting, you'll see where you need to adjust things. Just add a little bit of that base color and that'll darken that up. Like I said, we want this part here to be as or darker than the middle. darker than the middle. Let's go back into our color. We'll lighten it up a bit. So we're in the middle here. And each wave, we're just, not the ones really in the back, the ones closest to us, that's the ones that we're going to do this for. In the back, it's just like our landscape painting. You can't really see anything back there, so we don't need a ton of detail. And our big rock's going to be right here, so that'll cover up a lot of stuff in this area. Got some really good crashers going on. Alright, let's take this one here. We'll start in the middle again where our light source is. Not a ton of paint at all. We're just trying to make our indications of the waves here. We'll brighten this guy up. He's the one that crashes, I think, maybe there. Alright, I just kind of finished off these front waves. The most important part is you want to leave that ridge dark before you put any of this in. We're just going to continue on. I just want to highlight some of these here. I thought maybe one of these here will be like we'll have a little roll, like it'll crash over here. So maybe this one, and we're just going to take our corner of our brush and just make a little, maybe there's a rock under there or something. Maybe he crashes over here, kind of curls over a bit. We just take our light color, because we're still kind of in the light, up towards the middle of this painting, and dark on the outside. And you can just go and highlight these just a bit darker. And I also think that it's going to crash here, up against our land. So I'm going to put these in first before I put the land in. Some of this will get covered up, right? Just some indications that it's crashing kind of into the side there. Just going to add some more on this one here. Like I said, we can go in with our liner brush and highlight some of these. We're just going to put some indications of little kind of foam things that come in the sea there. Like I said, I live in Alberta. I don't get to see the ocean all the time. I've been there probably 3 times in my life to the ocean. So I'm not an expert definitely in the seascape, but it gives me a challenge when you paint something like this, just to give it a try. And that's kind of what painting's all about. You just want to give things tries. Why not? Alright, we're going to take our dark color, the same color that we used in our underpainting, and we're just going to define where our rock is that our waves are crashing up against. Maybe almost like painting a mountain. Same idea as our mountain. Comes up here. It's all bumpy. We're going to put some highlights on there. We can also fix up our area that it crashed up against. And you could fill this in with a filbert or your fan brush or whatever. Doesn't really matter. Go. And we're going to put some highlights on. We're going to take some of that color. We still want it dark. Some crimson. We still want it fairly dark. So just mix up kind of whatever you got. Maybe a little darker than that. I think we'll put some more crimson in there. Kind of want it more reddish, I guess. So we'll throw some crimson in there. I didn't have any in my palette. Darken it up a bit. And keep mixing until you find the color you like, you know. It's your painting, you can make it whatever you want. I kind of like this shade here that I'm going with. We're just going to cut off a piece of paint. Nice little roll. We're just going to highlight, almost like we do our mountains, this rock here. Up top. And just gently, we want it to break our paint to break. And then we can take just a lighter color, just even more lighter than what we had, using our white. So I'm just adding some white to it. And maybe the sun kind of hits certain parts of that rock. So we just want to highlight that. Maybe the front part here, maybe over here, not too far down, just in spots. Just maybe that sun makes its way through the clouds and hits this rock here, crashing down. Don't overdo, just enough. There we go. I'm going to stop there because I could go on forever with that kind of rock formation. Let's take our mixture. Remember we had some crashers here up against this rock, and we can go right over top of it. Right over top of it here. Just some crashers. Just take our white mixture. It doesn't matter if it has a little bit of color in it. And we're going to figure out right around here. Maybe that's where our beach ends up. We're going to draw out. This color. Don't worry about this bottom part here just yet. We're going to make it flat, or we're going to try and make it into some reflections. And we can take our fan brush, slide it back. Going to mix with our undercoat. You can see it's mixing with the white color we put on there. I just wanted a guideline with the knife, really. And here it's getting flatter, right? So we got to change our angle just a little bit. Here, there's another little wave coming here. Just kind of dragging that paint behind. I really wanted to mix. I really wanted to mix with our under paint that we have. Still comes up. Maybe there's that last little wave right here. Kind of see him right now. Just highlight him a little bit. It's that last little guy coming in there before he crashes on the beach. Alright, now we can take our 2-inch brush. Grab some of your white color mixture that you made. Put some on the brush. And make sure we go right where the light is, and we're going to pull straight down. Straight down. And darker, darker, darker. As we go away from our light source. Straight down. And if you need to, you can always add some more if you want it a little bit brighter here. Darker, darker, darker. And you can go in and make it as soft as you want. I'm going to clean off our brush. Make sure it's nice and clean. And we're just going to go across just to make that nice reflection. Just pulling across. You can go in with our liner brush now, or a filbert. Liner brush would work good. You can put some liquid clear on it just so that it moves a little bit smoother. Get our liner brush. Put it in that dark mixture. I want to highlight the bottom of that kind of foamy part here. Just to give it some definition. Just roll it around in there. There we go. And you can take your liner brush, and you know it has some of those dewars and whatever kind of crawling up here. You can even dip it in just a little bit of paint there. Thin it out just a little bit. And we can go up here. Just highlight some of those ones right in the middle there. Just taking our liner brush. And you can spend hours and hours just putting little kind of floating things in here. But follow what the wave is doing. Curling up. The other thing we can do is we can take our 2-inch brush, just tap it into a little bit of pure white, just tapping, and we can add little bits of splash that's coming off of here. Maybe it goes up here. Maybe this one has a little bit of splash coming after him. And I'm just tapping. That's that water that kind of shoots out a little bit. Let's take our liner brush. We can go back into our highlights. Right in the middle is where we want to be. So you can just go and take your liner brush. You can go over top just of these waves. You can see the definition of the waves here. Don't want to go too far over that way at all. That's where a dark spot is. Maybe the sun catches here a little bit. Not too much, but mostly in the middle. There we go. I think that's about done. We're just going to sign our painting. Just take the same old color that we had, thin that paint down. And we'll sign it right in the bottom corner here. There we go. Now you can sign your name however you want. I sign mine just with a A and an M. And that's about it. That was our seascape. So thank you very much for joining me. My name's Andy, the painting fireman. And I'm glad you came and watched again. Thank you for subscribing. If this is your first time, go check out the other videos I've done. I do most of the landscapes, so this one's kind of new for me. But anyway, thank you very much, and make sure you keep your shiny side up. Have a good day, everyone.